Hi. Sorry, everyone. Sorry we're late. Can you guys hear me properly? We've had a bit of a combination of problems today. Well, one's not a problem. One's been quite exciting, which has caused us to be late. We had to rush out. There was an elephant with a snare. So we rushed out to go help try find the elephant to the north of us, outside of our normal area. And hi guys, sorry we're late. And we're going to film that as well. But the weather has been crazy. The wind was howling. So they'd been looking for the elephant for a couple of hours before we arrived. They couldn't find it. So we went in there. I went in with one of the game scouts and we tracked the elephants on foot. But by the time we found them, it was too late to get the helicopter up to dart the elephant. So it's a young elephant bull. It's got a snare on its foot. Fortunately, not too bad yet. So yeah, that's why we're a bit late today. I apologize profusely. And cell phone signal wasn't so great there, so we couldn't put up a tweet. VM is setting up extra lightning because, of course. But we are going back out tomorrow morning to look for that elephant that's got the snare, and hopefully we can get that snare off quickly. Okay, there we go. Whoa, wow, VM. VM said, let there be light. There was light. I'm whiting out here with the light there, VM. There we go. That's lovely, VM. That light is great. A little bit more to the right. That looks good. There we go. Thanks, Tom. Animals health comes first. So, yeah, hopefully we'll be able to catch up with that Ellie tomorrow and get that snare off. So that'll be the plan for tomorrow. So all our plans that we had today absolutely went out the window and we rushed off there. Now, of course, this was a bit of a clickbaity title. And that was Vimpy, are you going to just post on Facebook and Twitter and stuff so people know that we are live? We're just a bit late. Or get Charles to do it. Oh, thank you, Darcy. So this is actually a discussion about what books do the guides use. Now, of course, many times you've asked in the past and in the old job we used to have, and of course, due to different reasons, we weren't actually allowed to show the books, the names of the books and the titles of the books. Now, I know a lot of you would love to have some of these books and stuff like that. We'll discuss the snares again a little later, but let's get in to the books. And of course, we're not being paid. Let me just say this first. We're not being paid by the books to promote them, but these are the books we do, and we're going to do a couple of these chats over December and stuff. So you will still see me from time to time, and I'm going to start since it's summer and the water has fallen from the sky and the migrant birds have arrived. Now, Vimpy, can you grab me or the other bird book in the there should be a Sassel, I think, or Newman's, I'm not sure there. Now, most people keep a book of Southern Africa. I, however, like to keep this particular book. It's Birds of Africa, South of the Sahara. Now, that's just in case I find a vagrant that might not be in one of the Southern African books. There are about 900 or so species in Southern Africa that occur. Thank you very much, Vim. That occur in Southern Africa. Hello, Anna in Italy. Hello, Pam. Hello, Sammy. Hello, Tazos. Thank you so much, Darcy. Hello, Jerry. So most people, if you're only coming on safari to Southern Africa, but if you are planning on going safari or you watch wildlife content from the rest of Africa, I love this book. This is actually Jamie's copy, because if you see mine, it's held together with tape and whatnot. But this is also a really great book. This is Sassel Birds of Southern Africa. Now, there is an app on this. I don't really like it. I use the Roberts app. We'll go into the app shortly after this. But there we go. Let's see. All these books generally, I think this is Jamie's. All these books generally have a little bit of character in them. Now, these books are actually produced by the same people. And it's if you know your bird species well, it gives you a family. So you can see the shape. You can see I said all these books generally have a bit of character, a bit of tape or whatnot, because they're well loved and well used. So that's the birds of Africa south of the Sahara, which is very similar here. So if you see something that looks like an ostrich, it probably is an ostrich. We actually saw ostriches today while I was tracking the elephant. And there's flamingos, obviously, those are quite easy. But when you get into your warblers and things like that, if you know their shape, or the green bulls, I don't know, it's a bit bright. Let me go a bit back. You can, thank you very much, guys. Yes, I'm pretty sure these books are available on Amazon and other places online. But there are apps which are quite useful as well. So as I said, for Southern Africa, if you're planning to do most of your birding in Southern Africa, this is an absolutely splendid book. If you want to go the book route, the Roberts book is a bit big. So if you want to go Roberts, which is my favorite bird book or bird app for Southern Africa, you can get it on the App Store, whether it's Android or it's available. It is, yeah, it's available on Android or on Mac, well, App Store. Yeah, I've lost it. There we go. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I mean, I'll wait for a second. So one of the unfortunate things I find very much so. There we go. Picky's got the Roberts app. Unfortunate thing is this book is not available in an app, because that would be the ideal thing, because then you can cover all the birds in West Africa and Central Africa and East Africa. Oh dear, I need to do some, what's it called? What do you call it? Housekeeping on my iPad. I haven't used the app in a while, and so it is too full. Let me just delete something quickly. So I'm really hoping that sometime in the future that this app will come out, Birds of Africa South of the Sahara. And as I say, that covers East Africa, Central Africa, basically up to the top of Ethiopia. It does cover sort of Ethiopia, Sudan, southern Sudan, but doesn't really cover up north into sort of Morocco and areas like that. But those birds often are quite similar to the ones you would get in Europa. Now, there we go. Let's some housekeeping down here. Let's see if I can get the Roberts up again. Let's try again. So there we go. I really like this book. Now, of course, it doesn't have nearly as much information as a Roberts or whatnot. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Maybe you are a bit bright. How's it look, Vim? Not too bad. Okay, so you can see it's just got very basic information on how to ID it and stuff like that. And that's where apps come in quite useful. Wolfie, what we will do at the end of the chat is before I end off, I'll write the names of all the books and the authors for everyone. I will do that for everyone. So I quite like, as I said, the apps. It's easier. I can carry 20 books in my iPad, so I use that quite often. But I do like a good book. Now, as I said, the problem with the apps is there's no no app that covers an area as extensive as this book does. So at the moment, for West and Central Africa, sort of Congo, Gabon, up into the Sahel regions of Chad and that area, there is no really good bird book, and this is the best of them all. Now, let's see, all the apps still waiting. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, thank you, Mary. Does anyone have any questions about the books? And I mean, it's a book. It's quite self-explanatory. What I really like is as I said earlier, is the quick ID factor. So you can see by the general shape. Let's take kingfishers, for example. You guys all know kingfishers quite well. So if you see a bird that's shaped like a kingfisher, you can go immediately to the front page, 270, and you pop across, and we're on the kingfishers. Now, kingfishers I love the kingfishers. There we go. We start on the kingfishers here, underneath the scimitar bulls. And strangely enough, I've seen every kingfisher species in Africa except one. And it is that one, the white-collared kingfisher. It is exclusively coastal, rare and localized in an area that is not so safe at the moment. And up, if you have a look here, on the coast of Somalia and possibly into Djibouti. And I haven't got there. Picky, what do I think of the e-guide to the birds of East Africa? Well, I used it. I found it quite useful while I was in the Mara. So I do like the e-birds of East Africa. I don't find it as comprehensive as the Roberts. And hopefully someone will develop one for East Africa and West Africa and Central Africa that is as comprehensive as the Southern African birds of the Southern African birds is. So, wow, thank you so much, Pam. We really appreciate it. That's incredibly generous. So yes, so that's a nice one. And well, my iPad's being very slow. So now, for you serious bush lovers out there, we're going to go into something quite serious. Oh, thank you, Jody. Thank you, guys. You guys are amazing. And now, of course, it's quite easy to tell what's a giraffe and what's not. And I will go over one of those books in a little bit more detail at some point. But this is a really, really great book if you are wanting to learn a lot more in depth about the African mammals. It is the Behavioral Guide to the African Mammals, including hoofed mammals, carnivore, and primates by Richard Estes. Now, this is an amazing book. Now, what did I read you from? I'll read you a passage from a carnivore. I think I'm going to read you something about wild dogs, and I've got something to talk about with the wild dogs a little bit later. I can't talk about it in too much detail, but it's going to be very important in the next couple of days. No, we don't want to read about palm civets. We don't want to read about lions. We don't want to read about leopards. There we go. Wild doggies. Now, this is not what you would call a sort of normal guidebook that's got a nice picture and it's got, you know, the general what is the gestation period. It does have that stuff, but it really goes in. Sorry, I'm in the canids now. So there we go. Wild dog or Cape hunting dog, Lichen pictus. So it's got all the normal stuff you would expect. Obviously, the pictures are generally to show behavior rather than exactly a nice picture of a wild dog. So it's got their distribution, it's got their traits, distribution, ecology. But when you get into a little bit more detail in this book, it really, really gets wonderful. So social, organizational. Now, of course, the wonderful thing about all this stuff is it's always changing. We're always learning. There's always new information coming. So that's really, really great. So let me just find that social organization will take me too long. Let's just read a bit on activity. So if you want to learn a lot about animals, and of course, like all books, the animals have never read them, and they can do whatever they want. So lichen, which is the scientific first name, shares with the cheetah the most distinction of being the most diurnal of all large African carnivores. Now, of course, this can change in the full moons, and hunger might make them do something different. Since it runs down the prey in a fair chase, the wild dog does not need cover or darkness to conceal its approach. It can afford to hunt by being conspicuously colored, hunting by daylight, making it easier to select and keep quarry in sight. The dogs are generally inactive on dark nights, but often travel and hunt as usual on moonlit nights. Okay, blah, 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 this is all that, but you come down here, this is what I like, the real nitty gritty. A pack moves on average of around 10 kilometers per day. The rest of the time generally spent resting, particularly if game is scarce in travel. The pack commonly travels a home range in 2 to 3 days. Now, you got to remember that it depends on where in Africa you are. A wild dog pack in Botswana, its average sort of home range size is about 60,000 hectares, which is 120,000 acres, which is the whole of the Sabi Sands. That's Mala Mala, Londolezi, Singita, everything. In this area, their average pack range is about 25 to 30,000 hectares, so half the whole Sabi Sands. And they will do that whole area in 2 to 3 days. So there's lots of really fascinating, interesting info that is far more in depth in this book, SDs. And it's called the Behavioral Guide to African Mammals, including hoofed mammals, carnivores, and primates. But however, amongst the guiding community, if you want to be cool, we just generally refer to it as SDs. So there we go. That's a great book. Let's see if my iPad has caught up with my mouth. It has! Yay! So back to that. If you're coming through to Southern Africa, this is, I don't know how to, VM, tell me what to do with the screen. It's quite bright. Oh, wait, maybe I should dull my screen. Does that work better? Yes, a little bit better. So there we go. So I find the Roberts really great. Let's click on a lovely bird called a Karachani thrush, and put the volume on. So it's got all the calls. It's got the distributions. You can look at the maps, and even what I also really like is while you're listening to the call, you can scroll through and have a look. Oh, I'm trying to just get the right angle for you guys. So you can scroll through and look at the different information. Oh, so there's a picture. Then they've always got photographs as well as the illustrations, which is great. And it goes so far in depth to show you even what the eggs look like and what the nest looks like, which I find absolutely fascinating. And then again, it is seriously meaty when it comes to the information. And I really like a lot of information. I mean, that whole section is just on how they build nests and how many clutches, development of care of young. And then from different studying groups, there's breeding success depending on areas, conservation, whether it's threatened, not threatened, when their molts happen, and also, which is quite interesting if you're a very serious birder, is geographical variation. So the Karachani thrush is a great one that we chose by random, is that in certain areas, Wolfie says the pit bull is looking for the bird, can hear it calling. So, I mean, you can see here in Mozambique, they have a slightly different markings to that they do in Zimbabwe, to KwaZulu-Natal. And then it even goes into have the exact measurements and weights. Okay, that's enough of the Karachani thrush. Oh, no. Yes, I did push stop. So there we go. So that's my favorite bird app for Southern Africa. And the eBirds of East Africa is great. I really do enjoy it. I just wish it was a little bit more comprehensive, like the Roberts is. But if I'm going traveling in Africa, I can't rely on the apps for my birding. Remember, Birds of Africa south of the Sahara. That is the best one. Now, and I said the other one, I think we'll just do 2 books and then we'll have a little chat if anyone's got questions. And the other one was the Behavior Guide to African Mammals, hoofed mammals, carnivores, and primates by Richard Estes. Now, that is a great one for those wanting to learn a little bit more about animal behavior. It covers everything, as it says, to primates, to how springboks communicate, how their territories work, and that will be the same for wildebeest, klipspringer, giraffe. So really great. Now, there's something I want to chat about quickly before we go into the questions. Now, that is that we have partnered with in the process of partnering with a very, very important group of people. We've done some work with them before, and it's a very, very exciting live camera that's coming. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk about it just yet. We're waiting for the final sort of T's and I's to be crossed. We are donating our time and our equipment to this because we really, really believe in what they're doing. And we are going to need your help for these particular animals. And they've actually got quite a sad story. But as I said, I can't go into it completely. Thank you, Darcy. So I can't go into it completely. I will tell you that it is another live camera on a very specific animal that is very dear to our hearts. And they had to be rescued from an area where they were in danger. And unfortunately, as I said, I can't go into too much details. We'll hopefully have that all sorted and all that things crossed by Friday, and we'll be able to take that live. And we are going to be asking for your help in supporting these individual animals. So not the species in whole, but the individual animals you're going to be able to watch live on the camera. So very exciting stuff, and very, very close to both them and my heart. So we're very excited to be able to launch that little program, but I can't tell you what it is yet. So it is very exciting though. You can see I'm bouncing up and down for joy. Okay, time for your questions. Who's got some questions about the books? And because I put the clickbaity title, for those of you who don't know me, how much does a lion weigh? Well, it depends on where in Africa you are. A male lion can be anything from 180 to 220 kilograms. A really big male lion, or the biggest male lion ever recorded, was from Namibia, and he weighed 300 kilograms. I'm so bad at mathematics, I'm not going to be able to do the conversions. Oh, is it how much does a lion eat? I thought it was how much does a lion weigh? Oh dear, I forgot my own title. Sorry, guys. How much does a lion eat? Actually, let's play a game. I haven't quizzed any of you in ages. Who can tell me how much does a lion eat in a single sitting? Anyone? Anyone? We'll see what Esty says while I wait for some answers. But yes, so we've got some very exciting. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, a male lion, the biggest male lion ever recorded, 661 pounds, and that was from near Etosha. So that is the biggest male lion. Those are hyenas. There we go. Is around. And of course, most of you, 10% of its body weight. That's a good guess. We got there 75 pounds, 35 kgs, 50 pounds. I'm not 100% sure about the pounds. I'm going to see. I'll tell you what I say. Here we go. Aha, Barbara, that's a very good guess. Neil and Simon, 20 kgs. Maharshi, very good guess. There we go. It can eat it, and again, it completely depends on the size of the lion. Well, Estes, according to Estes, since I've been talking about Estes, actually just read you a little excerpt here. Lions share food, but often grudgingly, depending on how hungry they are and the size of the prey. Pride males are the most irascible and piggish, regularly monopolizing small antelopes killed by the lionesses. I just thought that was quite funny. So yes, it's about a quarter of their body weight. It can be a bit more. And what that does works out to over a year or a month or whatnot is on average, lions will eat 5 to 7 kilograms a day. There we go. Pam lady, 25% of their body weight. Yes, that's a quarter. Maths is not my strong point. Michael, you're going to Djuma in June, which is not a great time for plants because it's the middle of the winter. But yes, on the next sort of live chat, we're going to be doing these live chats, going through my whole lots of all my books and whatnot, so that we can go through. So because Michael is coming out and wants to learn more about the plants, we will do a plant and a tree book on the next chat. Okay, is that all? Well, if you are 200 kgs as an average male lion, and you eat a quarter of your body weight, that is 50 kgs, which is 100 and something pounds. That's quite a lot of meat in one go. I challenge anyone out there to eat 100 pounds of meat. Sketch Cats, how often will we be doing the expeditions? Well, what we're doing is we're working it out now. We've got lots of emails in. Thank you for that, and we're going to be replying to them. I was actually going to do that today when we had to rush off to the elephant. And once I've got an idea of how many people, it looks like it's going to be pushed further into the year because most people want to do it later in the year. So we're gonna see if we can accommodate everyone then. Now, there was an interesting Marahashi. Oh no, where did it go? That was about. Where's it gone? What do you think is the reason lions are the only social cats? Oh, this is a great question. I love this question, and I think this is a great question. So there's a lot of different theories. Wimpy or Jamie, could someone turn down the stove and check on the rice? I forgot about it. I'm cooking and live chatting at the same time. I'm so good at that. Well, actually, I'm just barking orders. Pam Lady, it's 100 pounds, then rest, digest, and eat more. Okay, so back to that. Why do I think lions are the only social kitties? Well, there's a lot of different theories, and there's an incredible professor some of you might have heard of. Well, no, it's not, Marahashi. A lion is a lion, whether they're Asiatic or African. They have the same traits, and they come from the common ancestor. Now, what I'm going to say, I think I'm going to end off on this one because we've got to get up early to go track that elephant. So I'm going to take this as the last question. And, well, Marashi, that could be due to the amount of people around and the terrain. So again, lion prides differ in size depending on the area and prey availability and prey size availability. So lions, human beings, and hyenas all evolved into their modern day form, what we are now, somewhere around 500,000 years ago. Now, that is very, very interesting. It's as the forests of Africa were declining and the open grasslands like the Mara and more bushvelds was coming through. And that's one of the reasons. Now, when you are sitting at home, or not sitting at home, you're sitting on your way home and it's starting to get dark, there's a need that you want to go home and you really want to go home more. Cheers, Michael. You really want to go home more and you don't know why, but when it gets dark, you want to be at home. Now, that is actually an instinctive response from when we evolved on the African savannas. And the reason for that is that lions are the dominant nocturnal predator and human beings are the dominant diurnal predator. We'll get into the hyenas another time. We'll just stick with the lions and people. Now, when we came to our modern current form, if you are a human being who doesn't get on with human beings and you want to wander around at night or away from the group of people, you're going to get eaten. Anna, does any guide speak Italian? Yes, Ali Oliveri speaks Italian. But so you're going to get eaten. If you can't get on with your community, you're going to get eaten. However, a group of human beings could quite easily kill a single lion, even though they might lose a few people, and vice versa. So Professor Lee Berger's theory is that lions are social because we are so social, and we're the two dominant predators that evolved in Africa at that point. And so a direct competition has caused lions to be social, as well as us to be as social as we are compared to other primates. So it's very, very interesting. But I will go into it a bit more depth. The wind is howling. It is just after 8 p.m. here in the evening, and we will be doing we're going to be off after tracking that elephant tomorrow morning. It's about 100 kilometers to the north of us. And hopefully we're going to be able to find it with a snare. And then, of course, on Friday, we're hoping that we're going to have a very big surprise for all of you. So fingers crossed, and much love. And we will chat soon. Keep a lookout for the next Books with Brent to find out what books do the safari guides really use. Because as much as we would love to pretend it's all up here, we need to do our studying as well. Bye.